Hello there, and welcome to your video on today's English Language Arts assignment. Today we're going to practice understanding or breaking apart words that have either the prefix pre, re, or sub. Okay, and this is collectively skills V1, V2, and V3 on IXL Language Arts. So we're just going to go through each prefix one at a time, okay? So here's pre. You can see that it's a prefix, and this is kind of funny because the word prefix has the prefix pre in it. If that was confusing to you, just ignore me. I'm being silly, okay? Let's just get straight to the point. Pre is Latin for before. So anytime you see a word that has pre at the beginning of it, you can understand the pre as before. I mean, here's some examples, right? Preview. It's when you're viewing a piece of the film before you actually get to watch it. Or to prepare is to basically get ready before whatever is happening. I mean, we could go into more examples of words that start with pre, but I have a feeling you can do that part on your own. Okay, so just think of pre as a prefix. That means before. Okay, here's the example of the type of problem you'll actually get on IXL for the skill V1. Okay, they will say, which of these is part of the pre-writing process? And so you'll see, here's the word that has the prefix pre, and if you know what writing means, you know that the pre-writing process is what happens before you start writing. So now you have to pick, is editing part of the pre-writing process or is research part of the pre-writing process? And to figure out the answer, you just have to figure out which of these two things would fit into the before writing category. I hope everybody knows by now. Obviously, if you are editing, you've already been writing. So research is what happens in the pre-writing process. You have to do your research before you can start writing, and you all should know that by now. Okay, so pre, I think you're going to have a fun, comfortable time with. Of course, reach out if you need me, but I think you can handle this one on your own, friends. Let's move on to the prefix re. Okay, so re is also a prefix, and in Latin, re means again, and I'm sure you guys can think of a million words. A lot of times, people make up words with re, right? People say, I redid it. I'm not sure that's a word, but it is now, right? Or trying to think of other examples of times where people just add re to the beginning. But the point is, if preview is to view something before, review is to look at it again. So you've already looked at it once, and now you're doing it again. Revisit. You've already gone somewhere once and you're going there again. Reconsider. You thought something over and now you're going to think it over again. You get my point. I'm not going to bore you with it, okay? So here's the example of the type of problem you might get on IXL for this exact prefix. This is going to be V2. Which needs to be rearranged? A messy pile of papers or a tidy stack of papers? Okay, so what it's asking is, what do you need to arrange again? Well, if it's already tidy, I don't really think you need to arrange it. So I'm going to go with a messy stack of papers, and I hope you all thought the same thing. What you may start to notice is that these problems, they're not just saying, what does pre-write mean? It's not so easy as you just say to before writing, right? Or in this case, it's not like you just say, oh, it means arrange again. You actually have to use the words with the prefixes in context, okay? So I think that you're going to get the hang of these two just like with the snap of your fingers, and you're going to get 100 real quick. But sub is a little more tricky, so we're going to spend some time on sub, okay? So sub is also a prefix, and sub is Latin for under. But what's tricky about that one is it's not literally under, okay? So let's think about a substitute, okay? A substitute is someone who comes in or something. It's not always a person, right? It can be someone or something that comes in instead of something else. So because it was the second option, it's considered under the first option. Okay, see how that's a little different? It's a little bit more nuanced. I mean, one of the more obvious examples is submarine. A submarine goes underwater, right? But most words with sub, it's a little more tricky, okay? So I wanted to give you a few examples of one specific type of sub word, okay? So if you have a category, you'll have subcategories. So for example, if a category is animals, a subcategory might be mammals. Mammals are a specific type of animal, but they can also be their own category. So this is a category that goes under this category, which is why it's a subcategory, okay? Think about foods. A subcategory of foods might be desserts. This is its own category, but it goes under food. So maybe you're starting to get the sense of how under doesn't just refer to like literally being underneath, right? It's not always going to be as straightforward as the word submarine. It might be more metaphorically under, okay? So I'm trying to think of another example before we do this one. Let's just get started because I can't think of one off the top of my head. Should have prepared it before I started the video. Okay, let's go ahead and go through this example problem. Now again, I put 2 for this one because I think it's going to be a little trickier. Okay, so let's just do them one at a time. Okay, which is a subcategory of comedy films? Romance films? Romantic comedy. So remember, a subcategory is a category that goes under another category, right? So remember I had animals are the category, and then the subcategory was mammals, which are a type of animal. Okay, so we have to pick of these 2 options, which one is a subcategory of comedy? Is it romance or romantic comedy? The correct answer is romantic comedy. So the big category is comedy, but romantic comedies are a type of comedy. So it's a category that goes under. It's a subcategory, okay? Hopefully you're feeling like you're starting to kind of get your footing on this one. Let's do another example together. Which might be a subplot of a novel? So remember, plot is the sort of important events that take place in the story from beginning to end, the most important events. So what's a subplot? It could either be everything that happens to a minor character or everything that happens in the novel. So what do you think? Which makes more sense as a subplot, right? So you've got the big plot, the most important thing that you would see in the back cover, like the main events being discussed. So a subplot, would it be everything that happens to a minor character or everything that happens in the novel? I want you to really have an answer ready before I give it away so that you can tell and check in with yourself if you're getting this. The answer is everything that happens to a minor character. So a minor character is not the main character, right? So the minor character is someone who adds value to the story, but the story isn't all about them. So their story, their subplot, is kind of under the main plot of the story, okay? If it was everything that happened in the novel, that's not a subplot, that's the plot, okay? So I hope by now, with all of these examples, you're starting to understand that in this case, sub as under, it's not always under. It's not always literally under. Often it's more metaphorically under, such as subplot, subcategory, substitute, etc. Okay? I hope we're starting to get it. Again, I'm around, so if you didn't get it, please reach out, friends. I wish you all the best. That was, the last one is V3, so you're doing V1, V2, and V3 on IXL. Bye!